The battle with the clay golem. At last, we are free of the unnecessary burden of excess potential. Inner and outer importance no longer exist. We have no need to assert our superiority or hide our inferiority. We fear neither the past nor the future. We have nothing to protect and nothing to conquer. We are finally free of the influence of pendulums and can take care of ourselves. Womp womp. If only it were true. Pendulums have great power, and part of the reason for their power is that people do not suspect they exist. It would not be right to talk about pendulums as if they were a secret group of aliens hatching a plot against the human race, because pendulums are an integral part of our world. They have a genuine impact on people exerting their control via informational energy. Their influence takes effect on 3 levels: mental, emotional, and energetic. Pendulums pump free energy from people via the strings of importance. It has always been this way, except that recently, the purely informational impact has been greatly accelerated. Human civilization has advanced over thousands of years, but the past couple of decades has seen a dramatic shift due to rapid developments in information technology. The sheer amount of data stored on servers is increasing exponentially. The real threat isn't just the volume of data, but how it's distributed. We are entangled in a growing web of telecommunications that becomes more hazardous daily. Yet, we do not perceive the danger because the rise of the information industry is masked by entertaining and convenient tools that distract us with their appeal. The pendulum's true goal isn't entertainment, but control over its adherence. The growth of the information network allows the pendulum to attract a massive number of people at once. The more people watch the same program, the more energy the pendulum collects, and as it grows stronger, its influence increases, making it easier to enforce the rule, "Do as I do." There is a loss of freedom in the informational matrix. The pendulum's rule, "Do as I do," is highly effective at diverting people from their true goals. This process is nearing a point where freedom of choice could become completely lost. In this scenario, individuals may become mere components of a vast informational energy matrix confined by conditioning and functioning as parts of a larger machine. The matrix will dictate how people act and what they desire. As history shows, what starts as science fiction often becomes reality. The process of losing freedom is happening gradually and subtly. No force is needed. Shaping a person's worldview to ignore their own freedom is enough. This is what's happening now. Maintaining a sense of freedom in these conditions is challenging, so it's essential to explore specific methods of protecting yourself from pendulums. As you know, importance is the only thing a pendulum can use to hook into. A pendulum can even hook into your attributing great importance to keeping importance at 0. Everything that has been said in relation to pendulums is quite serious, but here lies the paradox. If you now declare war on pendulums, you will be destined to fail. The most important principle in the battle with pendulums is to refuse to fight them. The clay golem represents a lifeless entity that only gains power when you feed it energy. Like a pendulum, it appears strong but has no real consciousness or intent. It thrives on your reaction and struggle. If you perceive it as a battle and resist it, you'll lose because resistance only fuels it. Even thinking, "I'll show this golem who's in charge," still feeds it energy and confirms its influence over you. Instead, see it as a game. A pendulum's attempt to upset you are part of this game designed to make you lose balance and feed it energy. If you take the bait and get upset or resist, you're playing by its rules and empowering it. However, if you refuse to engage, you stop feeding it energy and maintain your equilibrium. This way, you can move forward without being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Recognizing this dynamic gives you the upper hand by shifting the focus away from resistance to balance and awareness. You start calm, happy, and balanced, but soon the pendulum provokes you. Bad news, a stressful situation, or irritation. The usual script expects you to react with fear, despair, frustration, or anger. Instead, wake up in the moment, remember it's just a game, and consciously reduce the importance you're giving to the situation. When you do this with awareness, the pendulum loses its grip and collapses into emptiness. Think of it like breaking out of a dream. In non-lucid dreaming, you're at the mercy of the dream, unable to change it. Similarly, in waking life, people often react automatically to negativity following the same patterns. But unlike in a dream, you can consciously disrupt the pendulum's plan, act unexpectedly, respond differently, or simply refuse to engage it. By doing so, you break the rules of the game and maintain your balance. It feels empowering when you recognize a pendulum trying to provoke you and you refuse to take the bait. The strength isn't just about pride, it's because when you resist, the pendulum's energy meant to provoke you ends up strengthening you instead. The added energy feels satisfying. On the other hand, when you give in to the pendulum, it drains your energy and leaves you weaker. Don't let it win. It will keep trying, but each time you resist, you grow stronger. When playing this game, stay calm and balanced. Avoid getting angry or frustrated. That only gives the pendulum more power. Treat it as a light-hearted challenge, like sparring with a harmless opponent. If you remain centered and aware, the pendulum loses its grip and falls apart. But if you let anger or frustration take over, the pendulum's harmless attempts can turn into real problems. Stay aware, break the rules of the game, and keep your inner balance intact. Don't resist your reaction to being provoked, shift your perspective instead. Your emotions are just the effect, and the cause lies in how you relate to the situation. To change this, consciously adjust your response to the negative trigger. It's not hard to take a lighter attitude when you remember it's just a game. Let the provocation play out like a jester's antics. Imagine you're in a room full of mirrors fighting an invisible opponent. What you see isn't the pendulum or its reflection, it's your own sense of importance. As long as something holds exaggerated importance, the opponent looms it in every reflection. But when importance drops to zero, there's nothing to fear, defend, or attack. Then the mirrors of importance will shatter into tiny pieces and you'll see that the golem has crumbled. You don't need toughness to deal with a pendulum. Emptiness works far better. Terms like iron will, self-control, or steadfastness simply imply tension and readiness to fight, which drains energy, exactly what the pendulum feeds on. But if you remain empty, you don't need a protective shield. Energy isn't wasted and the pendulum collapses into emptiness. To do this, consistently remind yourself of the rules of the game and keep importance at zero. However, don't turn keeping importance low into another battle. Relax and allow yourself to lose occasionally. It's okay. If you stop gripping tightly to the control, the pendulum can no longer manipulate you. If the game stops being fun, lose with maximum indifference and move on without a care. If the pendulum wins, don't resist. Accept the loss and move on. Losing your balance or getting upset is okay. Do not be hard on yourself. The next game is yours to win. Avoid setting ultimatums or promising this will be the last time. Ultimatums don't challenge the pendulum, they empower it by creating resistance. A protective wall turns the game into a battle, and in a battle with the pendulum, defeat is inevitable. Pendulums often provoke softly, nudging you toward reliance on cigarettes, alcohol, or drugs during challenging times. When you think, that's it, this is the last one, recognize that this isn't truly you speaking. It's the pendulum imposing its influence. Each time you make such a promise to yourself, wake up and realize the trap. Awareness of this manipulation allows you to let go of the habit, not with forceful resolve, but with calm indifference. Indifference is the key to breaking free. There is nothing that pendulums will not do to attract adherence. They have completely whittled away everything sacred, from ethical principles to religion. The world is a manifestation of the one spirit, an affirmation of multiplicity and oneness. The divine essence penetrates all living and non-living beings. God lives in each and every one of us. We touched on this previously when we compared the human soul to a drop in the ocean. As soon as God informed human beings of his existence via his manifestation on earth, the pendulums instantly took religion under their control. You can see this for yourself if you look at the original 10 Commandments. The first commandment, often interpreted in various ways, essentially states, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." This calls for belief in one God who rules over all creation. However, people quickly strayed, creating numerous religions, or pendulums, that they became subordinated to. Religious pendulums operate under the guise of serving God. While spiritual leaders may genuinely seek to preach God's words, they too are often under the influence of these pendulums. Can wars and conflicts fueled by religion truly be what God desires? The second commandment, "Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them." This also refers to pendulums. The pendulum subjects adherents to its will and forces them to act in its interests, whatever their circumstances, and no matter what the good intentions are that conceal its true purpose. All the commandments can basically be reduced to two. In the words of Jesus responding to the question, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is similar to the first. "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." The whole of the law and the prophets depend on these two commandments. Love God and yourself and others without worshiping pendulums. This is all that the commandments urge you to do. At the same time, actively seek information that aligns with your goals. Your mind might impatiently say, "I already know this." Yet even with all it knows, the mind often drifts into autopilot, letting the pendulum take control. Stay aware and don't let the pendulum lead you astray. Genuinely speaking, your task comes down to consciously breaking the rules. This can be done in two ways. Either drop importance and foil the pendulum in the emptiness of your indifference, or still its sway by reacting in an inadequate manner. If you struggle with reducing importance, you can always stick with the second method. Any inadequate reaction to provocation is a gross violation of the rules of the game.